Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Please click on the subscribe button to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload new videos. Hey guys, in this session we are going to look at how to launch your Windows instance and connecting to the Windows instance. So to launch your instances, click on launch instance, and the first thing is selecting your AMI. Now if you remember AMI is your Amazon machine image, which is basically your OS information, what OS you are going to run. So here when you scroll down you should be able to find your Windows server. Now please make sure you are using free tier eligible so that you don't end up paying money. So we are going to use Microsoft Windows Server 2019 base, and this is the AMI ID. Select instance type. We are going to go with the free tier eligible, which is your T2.micro. So this will give me 1 CPU core and 1 GB RAM. Next is my configure instance details. Now here we are not going to make any changes. We are going to go with the default values. Now with your Windows server, you get a root volume of size 30 GB. So if you want additional volume, you can add more volumes to this, but by default you get the 30 GB capacity. Now if it is a Linux machine, you get 8 GB storage capacity, and for your Windows machine you get 30 GB. Next is your tags. So here let's add a tag. So we'll give a name to this server and let's call this as Windows server. Next is a security group. So the main difference between launching your Linux machine and your Windows machine is your AMI. So first will be the AMI. For Linux you'll be selecting the respective Linux AMI, and for Windows you'll be selecting the Windows AMI. The second difference will be in your security group. For your Linux machine you will be having 22, which is your port number, and your type will be SSH. Now when it comes to your Windows machine, you will need to have RDP, which is on your port 3389. So we are going to create a new security group here for my Windows machine. So give a name whatever you want. So let's call this as Windows server security group. I will give my description. So this is my port number. You can add a rule. So we are going to add HTTP and HTTPS, and if you want you can give a description. Then you can review everything, all the information, and then finally launch. Then the final stage you have is your key pair. Now you can use one key pair for any number of instances. So I already have an existing key pair, so you can reuse the same key pair. Now here these are my key pairs. Now you can choose any one you want. Now your key pairs, like I said, it is your one-to-many mapping. So one key pair can be utilized for any number of EC2 instances. So I'll select my existing key pair. You can also select your existing key pair. Just make sure that this is present in your machine, local machine. Acknowledge this, and I will launch my instances. So here my instances is getting launched, and I'll go to my view instances. So my instance is coming up. So here is my name that I have given. That's a public IP address. I have my private IP address. This is my security group. The AMI we have selected is your Windows Server 2019. So all this information you should be able to see here. Now unlike your Linux instance, where we connected to the instance as soon as my instance state was running, we cannot do that with your Windows instance. Now for the Linux instance, where we made use of your PuTTY application, and the other example I showed you was using the SSH command. Now for your Windows instance we can use the Rdp client. So if you're on a Windows machine, by default you should have the Rdp client installed on your machine. So if you go to the start menu and if you search for RDP, which is a remote desktop protocol, you should see a remote client that you can use to connect to the machine. Now before you can go there, you need to generate the credentials, that is the username and password for connecting to this machine. To generate those credentials, click on connect, and here you can, so this is the username, that this will be my DNS name or my host name, and then is my password. Now to generate your password, click on get password. Now like I said, with your Windows instance you cannot connect to it immediately. you will have to wait for at least 4 minutes after launching the instance before you can generate the password. So I'll wait for this to finish. So when your Windows machine is ready, when you click on get password, you should see this window. So here you will need to upload your PEM file, which is the PEM file that you have selected. So click on choose file. Now my PEM file is present in my downloads location. So my PEM file is this one, and click on decrypt password, and this will generate a password that you can use to connect to your Windows machine. So you'll be using these credentials to connect to your Windows machine. So on your Windows machine, when you go to the start menu, you can search for RDP, which should have the remote desktop client that you can use to connect to your machine. So this is you'll have this by default on your Windows machine, so you can open this up, and this will prompt you for the information. So first thing, it will ask you for the computer, that is nothing but the DNS name. So you can take this information and provide it in this field, and then click on connect. When you click on connect, this will prompt you for the username and the password. So your username will be administrator, so here my username will be administrator, and the password is whatever you are seeing here. So this is my password. Copy that and paste it here and click on OK. It will verify your credentials, and if you're, so here it will ask you, do you want to trust this? So yes, I want to trust this machine, and this will validate your credentials, and if your credentials are correct, this should connect to your Windows EC2 instance. So here this will take some time. So this is basically preparing your machine. The UI and everything is being prepared. So this will take a couple of minutes depending on the bandwidth, speed and everything. So here is my Windows machine. That's my IP address, on what IP address it is running, and you should be able to see the Windows home page when you're connected to the Windows machine. So this is how you can launch your Windows instance, and you can connect to the Windows instance. That's all for this session. I will see you in the next video.